If you have seen pictures like this macrame wedding backdrop and you wish you could make it yourself, watch today's video and I will show you how. We are super excited. We get to have a wedding on our property. Our daughter is getting married and a good friend is letting us borrow a arch, a wooden 4x4 arch, but I wanted a macrame backdrop for it, and so I searched all over Pinterest, the web, everywhere, and I could not find a pattern. So I took it upon myself. I have created this backdrop, this wedding arch backdrop. And in my typical video, I usually show you, then you do this string and then you do this string. This was such a design process. This video is going to show you how you can do it, what my different components are. It's not a move this string and this string kind of video, but it's the plan of how you can make your own macrame backdrop. So at this stage, I still have my backdrop on my working station. So first of all, I use 3mm cord. You're going to need well over 2,000 feet. I stopped counting because I kept using scraps and then I would take something apart, but I'm guessing that I used about 2,500 feet, maybe a little more, of 3mm cord. I get this off of Amazon. I have the link down below. And a book that I really have used for a lot of resources in this project and a lot of projects is called the Macrame Pattern Book. I also have the link for that down below. Highly suggest it. So I'll refer that in the book I found this knot or this pattern or this sequence. It's a good book to have in your arsenal. You're also going to need to have a working station. We have a video on the channel of how Ross made me my macrame workstation. It was fantastic for this big of a project. So check out that video, but let me show you what you need to know to get started. So this wall hanging has basically 3 components. The sides are one component. So we have 2 sides that are quote unquote identical. We have the center, so that's the component number 2. We have the large braid that is going down in front of each side, giving it a really good dimension. That's number 3. And then we have the 4th component is on the back side of the hanger, is a 2nd row of fringe that gives it some good dimension. You need to have a rod of some sort that will secure up underneath your arch. We used a piece of electrical conduit. It's sturdy enough but lightweight enough, and you can pick that up at the hardware store, and we just spray painted it brown. So this rod is 78 inches wide. The wall hanging itself measures roughly 72 wide by 63 long. Each side is about 63 long. So our first section that we're going to focus on is this center section. I had initially had it going up on the bar, but I really like how this added a dimension to it. So to start with, however wide your arch is, divide it into thirds. So I took my measurement for this center section and I crocheted a cord to go from side to side to hang my pattern on. If you don't know how to crochet, you can braid a cord. But you can see I initially had just a cord, 1 strand in there. It was too wimpy. So I really like the look of having a bulkier cord to attach to. Okay, so this center section is roughly about 28 inches, and from the top of the cord to the end of my fringe is about 25 inches. So when you're cutting your working cords here, these ones don't have a ton of knots in them, so it won't shrink up so much, but I cut mine roughly about 4 times the length. Attach them to your anchor cord there with just a loop, And you can see from the pattern, I started with just square knots. And if you've ever done a diagonal square knot, you have to work back and forth. You can't work in a section going down. So here is a close-up picture of this pattern that I did, just making diamonds. And when I got down to the point, I filled that diamond in solid. I wanted to have some definition, so I put a 1-inch piece of cardboard in to create a gap, and I did diagonal half hitches, 2 rows of them all the way down. When I was creating this, I did not cut any of the fringe till I was all done. So I would suggest the same thing. Leave your fringe nice and long and then come up with a measurement. This fringe here is roughly 8 inches long. Okay, so for the side panels, we're going to make 2 of those, and they do take a fair amount of cording because each of them is going the full distance down, and then there's some knots. I did go around the rod for these, so you attach the same way with a loop, and I started with a row of square knots and made individual diamonds. So each one of these starts out with 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1 square knot. Then I did a half diagonal on each side to make a distinguished V. Then I did 10 left facing only square knots, so that gives it the spiral. Then I did diamonds that are not filled with the square knots. So then you do your half hitch, making a diamond, spiral, diamond, spiral. You can see that the first column has 6 diamonds, not counting the top one. So there's 6 empty diamonds. The second one is 5, then 4, 3, 2, and then 1. I did do 1 more, starting of 1 here, but I didn't do a diamond because we needed to have some substance behind. So you start at the top with 7, but you only have 6 columns of diamonds. Again, leave your fringe, leave it all the way down until you come up with your measurement. So you do that on both sides. For measurement purposes, this one is roughly 21 inches, and to the bottom of the fringe is about 62 inches. So we just go down at an angle. So that's the second component. The third component is this braid, and this is a pattern that I did get out of that macrame pattern book that I was telling you about, and I have a video, so here's a clip of it, of a video that I did on how to use this stitch to make a door hanger for Christmas, a sleigh bell door hanger. So watch this just a little bit so you can see the concept. But you can, the link for the video is down below, so you can watch that. This raised braid was the game changer. I had the project done, but felt like it needed some depth. Once I added this, the whole project came to life. We have your big one in the center, 10 and 10. So this is where the fun begins. We get to start adding sleigh bells. So what's going to happen is these 2 here are going to come together, and we're going to do a large square knot there, and then you will have these 2 come together inside of here, and so it just kind of makes a nice cool pattern. I mentioned that this takes a lot of cord. This really takes a lot of cord. You need to have 8 cords that are 8 times the length of this run. This braid is roughly 50 inches. So I needed to cut 8 cords roughly 400 inches long, and there's going to be a fringe at the end. So I did, I think, 420 inches, and it worked out fine. So I have the backdrop turned around. So this is the back side of it. You can see through here the braid that I was talking about, but I wanted to show you the 4th component. The 4th component, let me move these out of the way, is this cord right here that I have added extra fringe to. So measure your distance, which we just checked, which was roughly 50 inches. So get one cord that is, 60 some inches long, attach it using the loop there, and run it and feed it through every 2 or 3 inches. Feed it into the back side of this braid. So you can see that I'm just loosely have fed this through the back side of the braid. Then you take your scraps. I never throw any scraps away. If it's at least a foot long, I have a box of scraps. So then I started taking scraps and I attached independent pieces of cording to give it some extra fringe going down. Because here is the fringe that is created from the top, but we also needed some depth. So adding that cording that feeds through the back of that braid and putting extra fringe on it really gives it the depth that you need. So while I'm on the back side here, let me show you what else you need to do. This is the spiral square knot that's on the pattern. At the base of every spiral square knot, I attached it to the big braid. So here we have attached there. It looks like I did an additional attaching there. Once you get it hanging, then you can reach through, and I used a crochet hook just to pull some of these pieces, and I attached it through and just let it hang as fringe. But you don't want this to be free motion too much. You need to have it attached to your design. Okay, I've turned it back around, so we're back on the front. The last thing that you need to do for your fringe is in this section here, the fringe needs to be really long. So so all of these are extra ones that I added. So pretend that those aren't there. It created an awful gap. So if you're just going to use the fringe of this design, it's not going to give it that smooth flow. So when you are attaching to that cord that threads down the back, you need to have this section be super thick. And then this is up to your preference of how you want to trim them. I held a plastic ruler and I cut all of my fringe on this side at 8 inches. And I cut them at that one at 8 inches. And I cut them on the side here at 8 inches. Then I went back to figure out what did I want to do for this transition. And I might still do some thinning and hair cutting, but I think that this is a pretty good plan for how you can at least approach cutting your fringe. Okay, so that's the nuts and bolts of how I designed the wedding backdrop. I could not find a pattern. I hope that this gives you some basis of how you can design your own. I really felt like I wanted to show you step by step of how to do this, but you would not wanted to have seen the process that I went through to try to come up with this design. So if you have any questions, or maybe you have some designs that you did yourself that you want to share with me, comment down below. I am always learning, and I appreciate any feedback. But as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching DIY on the house, and I am just very blessed and overwhelmed that I was able to make this for our daughter's wedding. So thanks again.